Ignorance is not bliss. Yes, there's a saying that's been in, some of my favorite, oldies songs and all that, how ignorance is bliss, how, reality shouldn't matter at all. Well, the truth is, ignorance doesn't really help you cope with reality. Ignorance is a mask that you put over a harsh reality because you don't like what it is. Look, I get it. Sometimes you want to put a band-aid on something that looks scary or doesn't seem to benefit you or society. I get that. I get that natural knee-jerk reaction to do that. But let's face facts here. That is not a good thing to do. That's anything but good. That's that that it's bad. Period. It's bad for you. It's not healthy because look, yes, one can have his or her delusions in order to live life in a bearable way. I get that. A dollar a dream. I get that. Buying lottery ticket. I'm gonna win. I understand that. Maybe if you believe in God. I don't believe in God myself, but to each its own. But you get my point. Look, people have their own delusions in some way to bear life, to bear reality. But the truth is, in a world where people are being killed by some bloodthirsty authority figures because they feel since they have the badge that they can kill whoever they want to. Yes, police brutality is not a problem that only the black community faces. It also happens to Japanese people, white people, anyone a cop doesn't like and feels like they want to beat the shit out of, they will. And it's not all cops. I mean, I do respect cops for the fact that they do put their lives on the line. However, though, there are those cops that, are bloodthirsty animals, and I have no idea why they're on the task force. But yeah, you get my point. Look, there's police brutality. It extends to all races, and you have a divide, racial tensions that divide us as human beings. Instead of seeing every single human being as an individual, as a human being, you create these racial and gender divides or sexual orientation divides because people don't like how you live or people just don't they may not agree with how you live, but they don't hate you as a human being, but then you spew hate on that person because because they don't identify as that sexuality, or they don't understand what it is like for some races and ethnicities to face certain problems. And I understand that it's frustrating when you face this problem every day on a daily basis and no one else experiences that. I understand that. That is frustrating. That really is frustrating. But the answer to hate or ignorance is not hate and or ignorance. That's not the answer. That's why I say ignorance is not bliss. Because look, you could have racism and you could cloak it by saying, "Oh, well, this person's racist because XYZ." Look, it might be a band-aid for that certain thing, but guess what? In reality, you're not realizing that that bigot, that homophobic person, that transphobic person, whatever the definition is for this person that's spewing hate or ignorance upon you. Look, you're not going to change their opinion, okay? You're not going to change their opinion. And if you want, your children or your siblings or your nieces and nephews to grow up in a society where they see people as human beings regardless of race, gender, ethnicity, sexuality, here's the thing. Don't whenever there's an attack on a group of people, tell them about it. Tell them about the incident that happened. Don't be afraid to tell them what happened. Don't be afraid to tell them the truth. Because when they know the truth, they will be more well equipped to deal with the harsh realities that we live in this day and age. because there's so many people in their 20s, 30s, 40s, and 50s who are so protected by their parents or family or friends, so they wouldn't have to deal with the harsh realities of the world. And the only time people really understand that they're in for a rude awakening is when they realize that the world does not revolve around their feelings. And and I and that you just have to take that for what it is. You can't expect the world to revolve around your feelings. You can't. Look, when it comes to, racism, I despise racism. I despise bigotry. I despise sexism. But does that excuse the KKK? But does that excuse banning the KKK from holding one of their rallies? No, because they have every constitutional right to hold their hate speech rallies, and they have every right to spew hate speech because they have the freedom of speech. You can't censor them for that. Does it make it right then to stop a feminist movement from doing a rally at a college university because they're feminists? No. They have every right to speak their agenda because they have freedom of speech. And look, here's the whole thing though. The world does not revolve around your feelings. It doesn't. And I had to learn that the harsh way. But I don't want someone who's viewing this. You might be younger. You might be 19. You might be turning 20 this year. But here's the thing. If you're watching this and you're younger, take every word I say. Don't take it for a grain of salt. Take it for the truth. Take it for the truth because it is the truth. The world does not revolve around your feelings. Look, if you decide to go to college, good for you. But don't become a politically correct baby. Because when you start censoring people, when you start saying, oh, I don't like this word or that word, so therefore you can't say it, here's the problem with that. And instead of being considered a college student, you're considered a crybaby that's at an expensive daycare center. And that's exactly what colleges are becoming. So, yeah, ignorance is not bliss. There are harsh realities that we just can't ignore. Regardless if you're young or old alike. Guess what? I get the whole idea. And I understand the idea that you want to put a Band-Aid on certain things because you don't like the reality of the world that we live in. But sometimes that, in reality though, that really doesn't work. Not just sometimes, but in reality that never works. Because then you always end up feeling disappointed. You always end up feeling disappointed. Instead of trying to live a happy life in the fucked up world that we live in, instead of trying to live a happy life in the reality that we live in, a lot of people let ideology curb any rational thought. People let ignorance curb any rational thought. And that's sad. And that's scary. Because when there's something very traumatic, people will act like it's not a big problem.